What's up?
What's up, man?
Oh, not much.
Oh shit, my bad. I didn't loop that thing. It's all good.
Oh, man, you're good.
All right, well, interesting day. Gonna be some interesting review. And I'm just gonna put it out there. As you know, as Twitter knows, FinTwit knows, whoever watches knows, blah blah blah. Took a max L today. That was no fun.
It happens, man.
Yeah, but we're gonna break stuff down, chop shit up, all that good stuff. But let's do this whole intro thing first.
Hit it.
Okay, okay. I'm debating. Should I do the max loss now?
It's up to you, man. I mean,
Hmm. Hmm. I tell you what. So let me just say this first before we even get into trade breakdown. And this is just quick soapbox moment about risk management, right? So first, this is the first max loss I've had since December. You may remember December for me was horrible, personally, trading wise, everything. Really, just tough month.
oh yeah, I know. I remember it being tough for you.
Yeah, so this is the first max loss I've taken since December. However, we are what halfway through March. I've had a max loss, but all that aside, this is still going to be, assuming I don't take numerous more max losses, which ideally not. But anyway, max loss aside, this is on track to be the best month I've had since November. And you probably remember November.
Oh yeah, that was when
Veru.
that was when we got that Vero swing short.
Uh-huh. So
We never got a chance to talk about that one, but that one
no,
was
I
sick.
did. That's my best trade in like a year.
That was
It's a
probably
good one.
it was probably one of my best ones too, and that's the scaredest I've been in a trade in
Yeah, that
like a
was
year.
sketchy.
I mean,
But
I wouldn't have put on that much risk if I knew it was going to halt like that for that long.
it was wild. But
Yeah, man, I was panicking, not gonna lie, but it worked out great.
that it's a good month. So this is on track to be my best month since November, despite the max loss I had. But you and I have talked about it in more detail. But my max loss is set up to where it's not going to wipe out months of work. It's not going to wipe out weeks of work. It's not even going to wipe out days worth of work. My max loss is pretty conservative, for me anyway. But you know, even so, um, sucks. But I'm not even mad about the max loss. I'm more mad about the way I traded that particular ticker because I traded that ticker like trash. We're gonna get into it though. I just wanted to throw that out there. The only reason I'm having the best month I've had really since November is because of risk management. I took a max loss today. That could have been a brutal loss had I not had a max loss intact where Cobra cut me out. They shut my shit down. And had they not done that, I could have grown that loss exponentially.
I've done it before.
So, yeah. So that's why, for me, that max loss just protects me from me. So, um, it is what it is. But anyway, let's do the trade breakdown thing and get into that. All right, F it. While that was going on, I decided I'm going to do the max loss first and just get it out of the way.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, the other stuff I had is much happier. So I'm just going to show this bad boy first. Let's put us down there. There it
Yeah,
is.
I have charts that look like that sometimes, man.
So you know my trading style, right? Two, three arrows typically max on entry, and then 1 to 3 exits. Sometimes just one if targets hit. Sometimes I scale if it's a little sketchy, whatever. Bottom line is 1 to 3 in, 1 to 3 out. I lost complete self-control with this. And so basically, okay, shorted it at open, stupid. And we did this. This is what really pisses me off. We did pre-market prep on this, and I even said they had the offering. I typically don't, trade into the weakness off these offerings. I wouldn't mess with it again unless it got up into this range, which was yesterday's levels. I didn't even take my own freaking advice, but it is what it is. So anyway, short of the open, small size. I don't ever. We've done this long enough together now. I don't ever short open with full size, half size. Got out right at that halt band, a couple cents before it. And then this is when I text you. I was like, hell yeah, caught it.
Oh yeah.
Got it with full size on that halt resume. And I was like, oh, it's done. It's gonna hit new lows. This thing's going down to that offering price, which is what, like 250, give or take, whatever it was. I was like, it's done. Covered a little bit after the halt, added pretty damn heavy. And I think I texted you today and told you part of the reason I got into this super choppy crap here is because I started sizing into this way too big. I've been on one hell of a run this month. I got a little cocky. I got way too cocky and sized up into this thing way more than I should have. Of course, I took some off, added it back, shorted here thinking lower high. Or I guess technically added here thinking lower high. And it rejected off VWAP. So I still felt pretty good, right? I'm like, okay, it's all right. Rejected VWAP, lower high. Literally the next candle, rips face, and I covered for a pretty, not a max loss at that point. Pretty good loss, though. So then I'm a little obviously tilted because I already traded like shit. Emotions, FOMO, the whole thing. So this whole mess right up in here is, I don't even know what I was doing. Short and covering. I mean, I know what I was doing. You and I have talked about this too. I'm not like a big level 2 guy as far as trying to read too deep into it. I like to use the color bands, and I will look for certain levels where there are offers stacked up. Well, this is the thing that really, in hindsight, makes me feel so stupid. There wasn't a single time on this thing in this whole run where offers were ever stacked. There was never a stack of yellow on the right side. And, that's oftentimes what I'm looking for.
Right. And I mean, I don't really use level 2. I mean, I know that some people say, I say I don't use it. I look at it and I do the stacked offers and things like that, but it's like there's just so much trickery in it that it's,
especially in small caps.
Yeah, man, I'm really just trading the price action and like chart levels, and you know how I am.
Yeah. And for me, level 2 is just a confluence piece. It's not the end all be all. I'm not gonna make a decision solely based off level 2. For me, it's more of a confluence thing. Sometimes on covers or shorts, whatever.
I mean, and I do like tape, like looking at just like that tape speed when it's doing the real fast moves.
Right.
Like shorten into that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But I don't even. I mean, I use it. I have it up, but if I told you I know how to read the tape or whatever, I'd be lying.
Yeah, I mean, I learned, like I told you, from Gattani a long time ago about the color blocks and how he used that kind of on a subconscious level. So the whole time I'm trading this chop, buying, and the reason for this is just too much size, which made me uncomfortable. So I'm shorting, covering, just over and over and over.
This thing had like a 700,000 float too, did it not?
Yes, sub mil. The spreads on it could be nasty at times on the level 2.
Man, I usually don't even fool with these with like a float under 1 million. Like I don't really even like ones with a float under like 3 million.
Same. So there was plenty of reasons for me not to trade this. And realistically, after this first move up here in this, I caught this halt down. I was green right here. Not much, but I was green. I could have covered right up in here for break even, and just been done with it because this price action on pretty low volume, mind you, was wild. But sub mil float doesn't need a lot of volume. But anyway, I chopped up, continued to get chopped up. Finally, right here on VWAP, I took a position, sized in, and basically said, all right, new high a day, I'm done. And I sized accordingly to where if it hit that, and I remember telling you, I was like, if it hits that, max loss achieved. So I wasn't going to trade anything else. And of course, max loss was achieved. And again, in hindsight, the obvious nice levels was 6 to 650. Hella impatient. This is gross. This is emotional. This is FOMO. This is bad. I didn't even take my own advice pre-market. It's first, like I said, max loss I've had in a long time. But I put it out there. I have red days. I have red trades. Everybody does. And as soon as I posted this on Twitter, I had two people. I don't know them, but I had two people DM me almost immediately and was like, do you really have red days? Like, is that real? I was like, yeah, man. Like,
hell yeah, it's real.
People have red days. And he was like, well, I see most of these calendars where it's like they're all green. And I'm like, well, people can put whatever the hell they want in their journaling software. I could put that I'm a millionaire in my journaling software and never have a red day. But anyway, it is what it is. I'm not even mad about the max loss. I'm just more mad about the way I traded it. The obvious levels were that 6 to 650 range where my last cover was, but just complete FOMO till this hasn't happened to me in a long time. I don't even know what caused it really, like FOMO ultimately, because the offering and I missed it. And I'm seeing charts on Twitter with people catching the offering. So I got to say the fuck off Twitter before I start trading.
Yeah, man, that's how I was this morning. Like, because I wanted this thing to have like a pop at open for me, like really into like the $9 level. But
well, you traded it too, right?
Yeah, and I'll show my chart too. And
well, I'm gonna take my bullshit chart off this screen. So anyway, that's my max L. And I've said before, actually, I don't know who I was talking to. May have been Laser. And I basically remember telling him, like, if I have more than like 6 or 7 arrows on a chart, it's because I didn't trade it well. Case in point, right here. I haven't had a chart like this in probably since December. Like I said, it's a combination, I think, of FOMO. I got cocky because this week has been really good. This month has been really good. I'll get into that more later. But if you want to show your THMO chart and how you should trade it.
Well, and I gave back some at the end of the day, like an idiot on it, man. I should have just.
Like, I got a chart.
Yeah, man, and like here's another thing I was gonna say, and it's before I met any of you guys. Like before I mean, I've been on Twitter since like 2010, but before I was like posting stuff on Twitter, following a lot of Twitter traders, like before I got into this whole Twitter trading community, I just did my own thing, man. I always longed offerings. Like I've always found edge in it, and I'm probably going to be cutting some of my long-sided trading out because I feel like it's just difficult to flip bias. And
yep, for me especially.
Here lately, I've been doing pretty decent with it, but there's a few charts where it's like I'll post them and I'm just like, why am I longing this? You know what I mean? It's like just boredom. I'm saying I'm going to cut out some of the longing. I'm still going to hit some longs, but like today, I knew I should have longed that offering on THMO. All these offerings, they do that. And then I feel like everybody wants to short them, kind of like what happened today. And I wanted to short it too. And
especially on that sub-mil floater.
Yeah, man. And everybody's just like,
people probably did what I did. They piled in. I piled in pretty heavy, pretty early. I mean, I'm not taking enough size to like move the whole float or anything. But when you got 1,000 people doing the same thing as me, you know how it goes. But
everybody pounding on it, yeah. And I already had the locates for it and everything from pre.
That was another thing too that I didn't mention, but good call, because the locates were a little bit pricey. I think I paid 11 cents a piece, which is normally more than I pay for locates. So I was like, shit, I need to get some of that money back. And it still kind of pisses me off because I was green after that halt down, and I could have been done. Locates paid for, break even, moved on, traded some other shit the rest of the day. But whatever. Silver lining, I watched March Madness the rest of the day.
Hey, that's good.
There's that.
But man, all right, I'll show mine. But that's how I was when I was texting you, when I was seeing like Stan and all these guys, nailing it in pre-market, and I was like, damn it, man! Like I already paid for these locates, I've got to use them. But
and mistake number one was getting on Twitter. I had done pre-market prep. I should have stuck to that, not got on Twitter. Could have changed everything for me. Maybe not. But either way, like that's part of tuning out the noise and sticking to your plan. And I said in pre-market prep, I was like, I'm not gonna fool with it until it gets to yesterday's levels.
That's right.
And I didn't do that. So hopefully other people did. I didn't.
Well, here's mine. And I traded this a little bit differently than I usually do, mainly just because of the float and because they had already offered, and I know what these things can do with after an offering. They can just go crazy. We've seen it happen a million times. So I had a limit order in for this entry, but I went ahead and got in some here, and so I'm full size right here. And I believe, did it halt on this one?
Yes, because that's the one that ripped me a good one.
Yeah, so I guess I was getting in like right as you were getting out, but I knew that I wanted to immediately get out. Just with the way this thing was trading, I didn't think it was going to just, slam to 3 from here, or sub 4 anywhere around there. So I covered. I went ahead and covered all of it right there, and then later on in the day, I was watching it all day long, and I was like drawing lines all on the chart and doing all kinds of stuff. I was talking to Phil about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I mean, it's like a micro cap, so the lines probably aren't going to matter."
Yeah.
But anyway, I hit it short again here, and I covered half of it there. And then I got full size short here again, and then stopped out right into close. I stopped out at 614.
Yeah, I saw that. I haven't looked at really charts since right before we started this, but I looked at how this THMO ripped right at the end of the day and then tanked shortly after. Like not tanked, but it took a pretty hard fade after that after hours quick break right there, and then it's faded since. But
and I had some people saying to me like, "Man, why would you cover into that?" I'm like, because it's a sub 1 mil float ripping into after hours. Hell yeah, I'm gonna cover.
Yeah, because you've been in it, I've been in it where you're stuck in something after hours and you cannot get out.
You can't mark it out exactly. Like just like that last year, that one that ripped me a new one. One of my worst losses last year was BCEL.
Ripped after hours or something?
I can't remember if it was that it ripped. And this is back when I would kind of add when shit was going against me. Like I'd be down a few $1,000 and I would add another, 2,000-3,000 shares. This thing, it was like flat all day, and I had shorted it, and it's like that, just like with THMO, I'd paid for the locates. Now, this is when I was trading on Trade Zero. Why I was on Trade Zero, I don't know. I didn't have an under PDT account. It was just kind of one of those things. Just
the only thing I'll say about them, and I'm not going to go on a tangent about Trade Zero, is they have the freaking inventory. It's just a matter of whether or not you want to pay for it.
They sure do, man. And I remember there was days where I can't even remember the tickers, but there was so many days where I would have made like $5 or $6 grand on the day, and I paid $5 or $6 grand in locates.
Holy shit!
that was when I was trading with some in another group, trying something different, and letting stuff go real far against you. So it was
You
like,
traded this pretty good though, all things, because this was a tough one. You shorted the pops, covered the flush immediately after. Like that's good conservative trading on a sub. Probably how you should trade a sub mil float. You shouldn't overstay.
one of my last max losses was, I don't remember the ticker, but I posted it on Twitter, and it doesn't even like. I think it was a sub mil float that I shorted that day, and I can't remember what ticker it was, but I mean, I didn't even get to stop out. Like the broker stopped me out, and it was a little more than a max loss at that point. It was super tiny float, and I said something about shorting, micro floats on Twitter, and of course, everybody's like, "Why would you short that?" I'm like, "Well, because I thought it was up too much."
Yeah, the hindsight boys got into my DMs today, like, oh, why would you short this? It's a sub 5 mil float or sub 1 mil float or yeah, man.
Because I wanted to. That's why.
Yeah, like I wanted to push buttons and lose a bunch of money. That's why I shorted it so I could lose money and push buttons. Like, come on, man. How many times have we shorted low floaters before and killed it? Like, so it goes both ways. There's inherent risk, obviously, with these low floaters. It is what it is. I took a max L on it. You traded it pretty well. So
Thanks.
well done.
Yeah, I made a little bit on it and paid for the locates and made a little bit of money on it. Nothing crazy. But I mean, I need to just not trade stuff like this, because
Yeah, I know some
it's just,
guys on their scans. They have their cutoff at 2 mil, 3 mil float, 5 mil float, whatever. Their scans won't even populate stuff like this.
I don't have most of my trade ideas scans don't even have these on there. Only reason I even knew about this yesterday was from Weeble Top
Yeah,
Gainer
and
scanners. I'll
that's
just look on my phone.
I traded this yesterday and I did pretty well on it yesterday, but I'm not even going to go over that one. No one cares about the win I had on this. They are probably going to care about the max loss, and that is my cautionary tale. So there's that. But I'll share a. Let's see here.
Man, you had some badass trades this week, so I want to look at them and see them and talk about them.
Yeah, I've had a good week. I really, like I said, that's why I wasn't overly upset about this max loss because I really have no business in being that angry. I've been on a tear. It's one of the best runs I've had in a long time. So the max loss doesn't bother me monetarily so much as just the trading was absolute shit. But
Man, that was
this one,
right there.
yeah, this one, and I have another. I got the 15-minute, because I like to get in on the 2-minute, exit on the 15-minute. I like those two time frames are my favorite intraday trading. Not looking for levels, but more intraday action. But anyway, this was on. Let's see, what day was this? 3/14, which would have been Tuesday. So this was Tuesday. Half size entry. This was just a day one gapper. Half size entry. I don't ever full size short at open. I know there's guys that what do you call them, the opening print boys that will short full size right at open. I just don't have it in me. It's just not my style. But to each their
I
own.
tried it for a while, man, and I got utterly destroyed. So I mean, to each their own. But I'm not an opening print boy whatsoever. Tried it for a while. The times that it worked out, I might make $1,000 or $2,000, and the times that it didn't work out, I would lose like $5,000. So I'd be like, that's a ton of money to me,
Yeah. And if I ever take a short at open, it's half size. I won't take full size positions at open. That's just my style. But anyway, here I meant to cover, accidentally meant to cover, but of course I added, quickly covered, so that was a wash there. And then I just waited. And fortunately, the patience paid off. I don't know if you remember, but we were talking about this ticker all morning. We kept wanting a fake breakout, like above these levels.
Yeah, I longed this one. I almost caught the bottom on it.
Yeah,
I longed it sold, longed it again, sold. This is one of the ones I actually traded pretty well this week. Like it was actually a pretty decent win, but it just doesn't look that cool.
Yeah, this is a sub $1.50 stock, so it doesn't look great. But this was a half size loss, and then I went ahead and just full sized into this, and I'll show why on this other chart
Top
that I have.
thing, man. Yeah, see, yours looks way better than mine. Mine doesn't look this good.
Yeah, well, this is the 1 minute. If I put it on a 5 minute, or I'll show you my 15 minute. I think the 15. I took a picture of it today, so it doesn't have my executions. But if you look at this on a 15 minute, I didn't top tick it probably because of this right over here. But good entry. I got lucky. If I top tick something or bottom cover, it's luck. This doesn't happen for me very often. Usually my stuff is more in the middle of a candle around a major level. I usually don't try to anticipate, but we wanted that fake breakout. We got the fake breakout, and then of course it worked. And I'm going to show why real quick, because I have another screen of this ticker. Like I said, I love the 15-minute time frame. I love the daily, but I love the 15-minute. So this is that ticker on a 15-minute time frame. And I like to use, we talk about this too, I like to use some pre-market levels if there's a level of respect that is to be had. Now mind you, this is a 15-minute chart, so if you were to see this on a 2-minute, you'd see a lot of rejections in this area. It had the initial pair in the pre-market, and then it faded and it kind of chopped around right in here. It showed to be a nice level of resistance, and that's where this was 2 days ago. Feels like an eternity, but this is that. You and I were, man. I know, but you and I were talking about it that morning. We're like, we want a fake breakout to that level. So that's where I had the line drawn, and I had a limit order right in that area because it started to, again, this is a 15-minute, but when on the other chart, it didn't straight pair it into that. It took a few minutes to get there, so it gave me time to set my limit order. Set the limit order, got executed, and then boom, quickly flushed. So this was the candle that I caught. And of course it never faded hard. It held, it held all day long. But still, that was like, if I remember right, 15%. I don't think it was quite 20, but a solid gain on a stock that didn't have a ton of range. But because I caught that fake breakout on a good entry, this turned out to be a solid trade.
You traded it perfectly, man. That was a sick trade, and I don't know. I don't think you really could have done any better with
that fake breakout was
man. I saw somebody talking about it on Twitter today, but a lot of these that are gapping up like less than 100%, they are not offering much range here lately.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'll show this real quick too, just because I kind of wanted to, just to give like a different opinion, or not opinion, but like
perspective.
This is my AIMD chart, and this is actually a pretty solid win for me.
These don't. It doesn't look like a lot of range, but when you're talking about, you longed it at roughly, $1.15. You're covering it $1.40.
This long was at 106.
Yeah, and you're catching. Like I said, it doesn't look like a lot, but these are probably 10 to 15% moves on your position.
Yeah, each man. Time. And like I hit it here, which is really, if you look at it, it's kind of like a fake breakdown.
Yep. And that's your thing. You long those well.
Yeah, dude, that's how I made a lot of my original. Sometimes I think like I suck at shorting the open, and sometimes I grew accounts by
doing that right there.
By doing this right here, except I would have longed it here and sold somewhere into here. Just, it's almost like that channel,
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you how many times, and I would full size long it and cut it if it broke down any further. Sometimes, but I probably would have used like $1 as a stop point. At that point, at this point, I would have cut it like immediately because I don't let longs go against me like I used to. But anyway, longed it, sold it here, and then longed it again when it held that VWAP area.
Mm-hmm.
Sold into this, and then longed it again here, which was a mistake. Added to it here, which I was like, all right. At this point, I was like, okay, I really shouldn't have done that. So I had too much size long, and then I'm selling my long just into any like partial breakout area, and I flipped short on it right here, covered like 3/4 of it into this, and I feel like the 1 minute 200 was pretty close. But
Yeah, I think it is. Just thinking about my chart, I think the 1-200 pretty much caught up on it all day long.
yeah, and I mean, like at one point, like back in October, this kind of move right here, if the 1-200 was catching up to VWAP at the end of the day, these things were ripping. You remember? Like
Yep.
I had October was one of my best months going long. Believe it or not, you remember I was catching those longs into the end of the day, ripping like that.
Yeah,
But
this was a tough one too. We both traded it well, but it was tough because it didn't.
just not much range, and
Yeah,
I mean it is, but and like I got the short, like I wanted to short it. It was just like the way it acted at open. I just my mind it's kind of like today on THMO. Like my mind goes to I need to be long in this.
yeah. I just feel like these, sub $1.50, especially sub $1. Sometimes the staying power is intense.
It is, man. They just don't move the same, and
They hold them up. I don't know if it's people chasing it, chat rooms pumping it. Well, I don't know. They just have more staying power, I feel, and I've always felt like that.
you know how people are, man. They're like it's only $1, and they're looking at it,
Yeah, so you can buy, 100 shares, 1,000 shares for nothing.
exactly. It's I think that's kind of what a lot of people see, and I mean, I guess I get it.
Yeah, I used to do the same thing.
Oh, I did too, man. I mean, I still trade really stupid sometimes.
Yeah, take a look at my trade today. But
Hey, man, don't even sweat it because
it's all good. It's all good.
sometimes when you see a lot of arrows on my charts, I did really good. Like I had one today where it had a bunch of arrows, and I did good. But then there's other day when you see like a lot of arrows and they're real close together, like and it's a lot of green and red, kind of like how yours was in that little area.
Yeah, yeah,
If it's like that with me, then I probably did bad. But
yeah.
sometimes I'll have a lot of arrows just because I'm like getting little pieces of my entry. Like I know some people say one shot in, like, or one or two in, but like, man, like I'll have little limit orders set, and sometimes I'll be just getting my average just a little bit better, but like I still have an area, like I'm getting my getting all my size and like that I want to have into an area, and
No, yeah, you're building around a specific level or core or whatever.
yeah, I mean I'm not adding like, and we'll talk about it later, but like my FRC trade today, like I wasn't gonna like add up to $38. You know what I mean? But like I'm
Right.
trying to get the best average I can around close to $35, $36.
Yep. All right. So this one, Ambi, this was not a day one gapper. This had ran the day prior and held up, but it was a complete pump. I don't think there was any viable news. This was what?
Oh man, that was that
Just
crazy
yesterday.
one that was running on like 300,000 volume, wasn't it?
Yes, that actually ran 2 days ago. This is from yesterday, but I kept it on watch because this was a complete pump
It was
on low
thin, man.
volume.
Really
Yeah.
thin.
So I tried to get executed here because I was waiting for the sell volume, right? And this was more of a reactionary chase-esque type of trade, but this thing was up hundreds of percent. I was just waiting on that crack. And then once it had that first crack, I was going to take a position. And it was more, and this one was more of a one in, one out. Like I was going to get in my position. I was going to set my stop. I was going to, because this thing is pretty wild. So this is when I wanted to get in, range it, really honestly, not even watch it. Because this thing is crazy. But anyway, huge sell candle here with huge volume, considering, the biggest candle of the day was the sell volume. So I actually tried to get executed right in here, and I didn't. And then it ended up halting down. So I waited just a couple minutes after the halt, and it kind of chopped around. And I went ahead and took a short, thinking that it was going to chop around a little bit and then just completely liquidate, which this is when I wish I would have, swung, but this is, I don't remember off the top of my head, pretty low float. I'm not keen on swinging super low floaters, especially ones like this that the day prior just ripped on air. So
Hey, I saw the chairman.
He caught this too, I think.
Yeah, I think he swung it.
Yeah, I was too scared to swing it. And now it's
How
like,
do you pronounce his name?
I don't know. I saw it. How do you?
I don't know, man.
I remember he posted it. I just forget how to.
It was like Mayocean or.
Yeah.
But that's not what I thought it was. I thought it was something else.
I thought it was like Maxonian or something. I don't know.
I did too. That's how I read it before that. And then I was like, I kept reading it and I was like, it can't be that. I'm sorry.
But no, it's all good. Anyway, I did chase it down a little bit, but I thought this crack was it. I was like, it's done. And then basically I had my stop somewhere above VWAP because the 1-200 and VWAP were close together. So my whole thesis was a break of the 1-200 and hold. And I was like, if it cracks the 1-200 and flops around, cool. But so I think my stop was somewhere in here. Anyway, it didn't, crack the 1-200 and hold, and it finally faded hard. I covered at the end of the day because I didn't want to swing it. Obviously, now I wish I would have swung it, but this was a nice win. This was solid. Not a great risk reward trade, but sometimes these type of trades or first red days for me, not great risk reward, but the win rate makes up for the risk reward, I guess, if you will, on that particular setup or these type of setups. So,
man, I'm all for it. I like it.
Yeah, and I get risk reward. Yeah, different setups and styles for me have different expectancies and risk reward, whatever, to each their own. But on this particular setup or first red days, my risk reward isn't as high as some of the setups I'm trading. I'm looking for like 3-1. But anyway, this worked out nicely. I have another chart of Ambi that I want to show the other half of my thesis on it, because when you look at it from what I'm about to show, it makes way more sense. And again, 15-minute chart. Love the 15-minute chart.
Oh yeah.
So when you look at this volume profile, huge, overwhelmingly huge, right in this chop. All these people that were buying right in here bagged. Tons of volume, not tons, but the majority of the volume, obviously, at that level. Not really a close second. So when I saw that and I saw where it was, I was like, man, if it gets up to those levels, that's definitely where I want to take a shot. Of course, I missed that because I was watching other stuff, but that level was so key. But when it failed to break through that level and then it really had that crack.
Damn, did it wick into it on the 15 too?
It did. Wicked right into it.
Man.
So this volume profile level where all these people were bagged from the day prior was a huge level for me, and it added some confirmation as to, when it cracks, because it failed to break through it, it should be done. And of course you can see if I would have, I covered right in here, but if I'd have swung it, and it's probably going to go lower, I'm going to guess tomorrow, probably going to go back where it started. But again, I didn't swing it. I typically don't swing low floaters, even though I was up nicely. And I don't typically even swing stuff unless I'm up on it nice. But I just not keen on swinging low floaters. But
I'm not keen on swinging anything, but
yeah, I mean, I don't I don't know the percentage of trades that I swing, but it's probably less than a quarter. I'd prefer to cover it in the day or when my target is met and be able to sleep past 3 a.m. I don't want to wake up at 3 a.m. to see what the hell's going on.
there's been a few times in my life before I knew all y'all waking up at 3 a.m. or oversleeping just a little bit, only to find my account, wake up having my account being destroyed.
Yep. So I prefer my sleep, but this was another just good point of confluence. Yes, I chased it down. I was waiting on that first big crack. It worked out. Good trade. This was one of my bigger trades of the week too, because this was like a 25% gainer, which for me is pretty substantial. Most of my wins, 10, 15%, I'm celebrating. So when I have a 25% win, I'm like, hell yeah. Like for me, I don't swing for fences and home runs. I'm all about the base hits over and over and over and over and just keep it rolling. But that was solid. So
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I like to hold some for big picture moves, but it's a lot of times, it'll bite me in the ass. Like today with THMO, I was just thinking that thing at the end of the day might just really start dying because it couldn't break through that, that high that it made like intraday.
yes, I saw it at the end of the day.
But man, when one's going against you like that, after you were saying you kind of chased it down, and it goes against you like a couple dollars like that, are you not just like, damn it? Like, is it hurt?
Well, like I told you, I got into that one. I set my stop. I didn't set a range on that. I think I set a range. I did not set a range on that. I set a stop on that at that area just below VWAP, where if it broke above that 1-200 and held, I figured it would hit that, stop me out, whatever. So I got in, set my stop, revisited that. I had it on my side monitor. It's not like I take it completely out of sight, out of mind. I can't do that.
I can't do that either.
No, I took it off my main monitor, put it on my side monitor, set some alarms so in case shit hits the fan, I at least get some alarms sent to me, just to make sure that my stop hit or whatever. But I kind of took it off my main screen and just put it off to the side and kind of just, periodically look over at it. But I put a stop in and then I covered that at the end of the day, which was kind of the whole thought process. I really honestly thought it was going to go far lower. I thought it was going to liquidate that particular day. Didn't quite liquidate, but still solid trade. But with that, the only other trades I had to review, which I can, if you want to go over one of yours, you can. But I had the only other one that I got is the big dog, the bank trades from Monday, which made my one day this month is essentially going to make my whole month. But that's why we say this is why you got to stay in the game. It's why we trade, so you can
damn right
be prepared for that one big day. So I'll save that for the end. I put my max L out there early. I'm going to put my max W out there at the end.
Well, yeah, I've got two more to show, and I mean I can just show one right now. I'll say this is my best trade this week, which I had a pretty good one today, but because it was a bank stock, I mean, it looks like I sized in heavy because there's a bunch of arrows, but I sized in decently. I mean, it was a good win.
Yep.
But I sized in a lot heavier on this one I'm about to show, and it was my best trade this week. Let's see here. It was on MLEC. It was up like 100%.
Oh yeah, what day? What day was this? Was this today or yesterday?
Yesterday. This is one of my best trades in a while. Actually,
why did I miss this? I missed this for some reason.
Because it was in the middle of the day.
And I left or something. I forget what I went to go. Oh, Wednesday. Wednesday is when I leave oftentimes.
And these haven't been working this good lately, but these like these are like my bread and butter sometimes. Like these Man, this was a sick fader, and like
The range on this is,
I mean,
that this thing dropped. It ripped 100% and then dropped
I'm
almost
so
right back
glad
in.
that because I saw it hit my scanners when it was going para. Um, I don't know if it halted right here or what, that gap.
It looks like it may have. Yeah, I can
Um,
move us out of the way. Might be able to tell.
mm,
I'm gonna say it did.
yeah, and honestly, I'm glad I didn't see it before that because man, like this is my favorite way to trade these. Like after it's already made like a big stupid move, and then it chops around a little bit, and then it'll do that little. I mean, I should have had. I should have got. I mean, this is full size for me right here, and there's been some days where I've done this, and it might have been a little later in the day. I mean, that time of day is everything. I mean, I know we talk about that all the time, but this is just perfect. Happened at this time of day. Made that little fake breakout candle, and I mean, I was thinking it was going to slam after that, but it didn't. It's kind of
Yeah,
sat
it's
on
still held
VWAP.
up.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit thicker, but then it just started collapsing, and this was where the 1-200 was. In hindsight, I mean, I only had a quarter left right here. It was still
Yeah,
a
but I
nasty
mean,
fade.
yeah, it's tough to hold all of it for the entire move. Really
And
tough.
I didn't have limit orders set. I was just hotkeying out.
I've told you before, I oftentimes will mark it out, especially on faders like this. Like, I don't give a shit if I mark it out some size. I could care less.
Oh, I know. I mean, I try to limit out. I try to like add liquidity, but I don't always. Um,
Yeah, this was a sick trade. What I love about it is the fact that you hit more of a lower high. I like the entries a lot.
yeah, man. Like this is how I want to trade. Like this is. I think that's what I liked so much about it too.
What
And
did you risk? Like just a break of new high, like a break and hold of new high a day?
yeah, man. Like I didn't have a hard stop in, which I mean I know that's like
No,
to
I'm
everyone.
with you. Sometimes I do, if I'm risking a break and hold of something, especially on something like this, I won't put a hard stop because if you're risking a break and hold of a specific level, you can get wicked out on a hard stop. So pros and cons. Again, I'm not saying not to do a hard stop. Pros and cons, but I get what you're saying.
Man, I'll be honest with you, and like to each their own. But I do have to put hard stops in sometimes when something's going against me, and I've added all in, and I'm like, I know I'm not going to be able to hit the button. It gets already, sometimes when it's like it's already gone that much against you, and
Yep.
I'll be like, all right, this is where I'm like kind of like you said today.
Yeah, that's what I did on my max loss today. I finally got tired of messing with it. I took a final position and I sized accordingly to where if it hit that spot, that was it.
Well, I mean, and that's what I do sometimes. But on ones like this, where I feel like I mean, this thing just ran 100%. I feel, and I know we've seen some in the past month or so that have run 100 and then run another 100. But I just felt the way it, I mean, it's kind of that chart recognition thing. The way it looked, uh, I mean, really, in hindsight, looking at it now, these wicks, and when it breaks through right here, it's done, obviously. But um, I just like the pattern recognition of this is I just liked it, and this is just the way I want to trade. And if I would have had a hard stop at a new high of day, I think this made like a 1 or 2 cent new high. So I
Yeah.
would have gotten stopped out, and I cannot tell you how many charts I've had where I'm getting wicked out right there.
Yep.
And I just people can call me an idiot or whatever, like oh hard stops, like
Save lives, as they say.
yeah, man. I mean, and they do, but like I can't tell you how many more times they've wicked me out and then immediately slammed, and then I'm chasing it down, and I'm going on tilt, then I'm
Yep.
screwing up. So this is how I wanted to trade this. This is how I want to trade everything. I mean, really, these are better for me, like more towards intraday. I don't know what's wrong with my brain in the mornings. I'm not great at shorting stuff off the open. I guess just because of that bias I had of hitting those dip longs off the open. But I don't know. I'd probably have a lot easier time if I could just start shorting stuff off the open and holding it all day, or holding a piece all day. I mean, which I do sometimes, but this is just I just love these, and I like the way I traded this. So
Yeah, you traded that damn near that's good. That's a really nice one.
thanks, man. Yeah, this is like my biggest win this week too. I just felt real good about it.
Yeah, that's nice. All right.
Thanks,
So I'm gonna show my big trade. But before we do that, what you think about this? How do you handle adding in full size too soon and not wanting to miss the move on full size versus slowly adding your position of the span of the move? Out for me, it depends on the setup, I guess. For one, how do you handle adding in full size too soon? That's where we're drawing out our levels or finding areas of confluence that we really, really like. And if it gets to our levels where our thesis is, okay, when it hits these levels, it's going to fail, or we play reactionary to those levels where we think it should fail after it failed follow through or hit it and whatever, we'll get full size at that spot. However, and then you just, you set your risk accordingly. But then as far as missing the move, it happens. It happens to me. Like sometimes I think I had a chart today, AIMD or AMID, whatever it was, that one I showed. That first entry I took right at open was half size. And if it would have tanked it open, I would have not caught the whole move with full size, and it happens. Another one like that earlier this week, I posted the chart on Twitter, but that 10x, TENX, beautiful all day fader, but I never got full size because it didn't pop to those levels that I wanted, or I missed the ad, or what, I forget exactly what it was. But basically, if it doesn't get to where I wanted, or I just missed the move, I'll just miss it. But I'd rather be upset that I missed it than to be upset that I scaled in, or as they say, scaled in full size or got full size and it just rips against me. So that's me.
And that's true, and that's where it's difficult to be a discretionary trader, in my opinion. I mean, it's like, and I've said this before, and I know a lot of people say this, but like the pattern recognition thing is huge. It's just kind of knowing where your level is, knowing how these kind of stocks act, like with that MLEC trade of mine yesterday. Knowing the kind of trades you want to have full size on, and that you want to have full size in that area.
Yeah, sometimes you get full size and it doesn't work, and you take a loss. I've had losses where I'm completely fine with it. My average win rate's like 65-ish. So I have plenty of losses. And if I take a full size loss, but I got in where I wanted to get in, I got out where my risk was. It's part of the game. But I've had plenty more where it doesn't get to whatever levels I have, or it just never gets to where we want it, and we just miss it. But that's part of it too, and you got to be okay with that.
And I think that's another thing of like trading the open and like taking like more like later in the day shorts is like there's so many wicks at the open, so I feel like it's easy to get wicked out.
Yeah, I'll show you what happens when you aren't okay with missing it, in case you missed this part.
Yeah.
This is what happens if you're not okay with missing the move. This thing had an offering pre-market, tanked hard. I caught FOMO, wasn't okay with missing the move. This is what happened. Traded on tilt, took a max L on this one. This was horrible trading. So you just got to be okay with missing the move. And I even said today in pre-market prep, like, not gonna. Anyway, we talked about that. But yeah, that's how I handle adding full size too soon or whatever. I try not to add full size too soon. I try to add full size at the levels that we like, that we talk about. If it works, cool. If it doesn't, it's part of it, and you're gonna miss moves.
Yeah, I mean, and I had one today where I didn't get all the size I wanted really into the level I needed to, and I'll show it real quick. It like just for example, kind of like you were saying, and I mean this still was a pretty decent little win for me, but it was LIPO today.
Oh yeah, I remember you trading this.
Yeah, so like I hit it short, and like I didn't get all the size I wanted, and then it I don't know why I didn't short this little VWAP shove, because that was a great spot to get it, and then it slams, and then I get full size here, and then it starts going against me, and then it grinds down, and I'm covering all of it into this, and then I shorted it full size again here at VWAP, and of course should have covered it here, but I end up covering an after hours. So I mean, this isn't much range that I caught. It was still a decent little trade.
Yeah,
Like I still did decent on it, but it's kind of one of those things. It's like getting your size at your levels and then doing something like this and chasing it down. It's hard to say, especially, being a discretionary trader. That was a good question.
Yep. All right. Busting it out. Like we said, you got to have risk management so you can stay in the game to catch these crazy moves. Now, technically, there were two. I'm going to just show them. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on them because they're pretty straightforward. But I'm going to show this was a good win, but it wasn't the big win. But this was good. So this is Pack W. This was Monday, by the way. And so I'm sure most people that are watching this know. All these regional banks panicked as a result of that SIVB or SVB bank crash. So on Friday, that thing's tanking. All the regional banks, Pack W, WAL, FRC, Zion. I can't even think of all the tickers. They were all just fading, panicking hard. Then we had the weekend. People had time to digest everything, and the news over the weekend was doom and gloom. There was nothing good that was coming out about this over the weekend. And then in pre-market, which I don't have the whole pre-market chart, but it just tanked even more. So you and I think we're talking about it on Monday. I'm pretty sure. Monday feels like an eternity ago. But I'm pretty sure we said like we were, looking to maybe like short the AM panics. And this one I traded in sympathy to FRC, which I'm going to show here in a minute. But when FRC started to panic, that was kind of the head of the snake, and they all kind of followed it. So I was really trading FRC, and this was a sympathy trade. Got a really good entry, covered all of it when it halted up. Reshorted the halt resume, caught a big piece here, and then I got greedy. Tried to short it down again, and was like, all right, I'm done. Covered it. This doesn't look like much, but this was a solid win because I traded it pretty heavy on size because of the conviction with FRC. I'm going to show FRC now to put it in a little bit more perspective, but FRC just died badly. So it gave me a lot of conviction to trade Pack W in sympathy with size. But this is FRC. Didn't have the best entry, and my risk was a break of VWAP. Super simple. It respected VWAP pretty good in pre-market. So my risk was literally, it could have been a 1 cent, because this is not in my wheelhouse. I don't short billion-dollar companies. This is a black swan event that we may never see again in our lifetime. But when it panicked the way it did on Friday, panicked all weekend, panicked hard in pre-market, I think we talked about it and we're like, this thing could just get it could go to zero. Like, so there was no way I was interested in longing it because I didn't want to get stuck like SIVB people did, trying to long it. So anyway, shorted it here, risked VWAP, and then I'll be honest with you. I think you and I were talking about it. I was in it, and I held this way longer than I've probably ever held anything of this size at this price than I ever have.
Man, just looking at that, how many dollar levels that is. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, almost
Like
10.
$10.
Yeah, share. So, truth be told, and I think I told you this, I tried to get out right in here, and it ended up halting because this thing halted
It halted a
numerous
few times, didn't it?
Yeah, halted here, halted here, halted. It halted quite a bit if I remember right. But anyway, I tried to get out. I'm pretty sure right in here, and I didn't get executed because it was a halt fest, which kind of scared me. I remember texting you. I was like, I know I'm up a ton, but I'm a little scared because I tried to get out and I did not get executed. So I was a little spooked out by that. I remember texting you a lot that morning.
Oh, yeah.
And then I remember after this halt, I remember telling you, I was like, the first sign of a bid on level 2, the first sign of a bid, I'm out. Well, right at 20, there was a stack of bids at 20. I tried to get out, didn't get executed. And then I'm like, oh shit, this is bad. Like, if this thing rips to 30, I'm screwed. I can't get out of this thing. And there was a stack of bids at 20. I remember texting you, I was like, stack of bids at 20 that just got annihilated and I didn't get out. Well, then finally I'm sitting there hitting my GTFO button. Finally got out. Scary as shit. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's not in my wheelhouse. I was scared because I couldn't get executed. I didn't have a ton of size. I felt like I should have been able to get executed, but I wasn't. And I was trying to cover actually right in this range, and I did not get out. I really got scared when that bid, there was mass bids at 20, flashed for like 5 seconds. Huge bids. Chewed through them, and it just kept going down. And then, anyway, finally got out. And then I think right about when I got out is when it actually did rip back up and chopped around the rest of the day.
Did it hit $16? Is that what it was? I don't remember.
I think it hit 17, or maybe it hit 16, but then it bounced up nicely. Now it's back up into the 30s, if I remember right. But this trade for me,
I traded it today.
yeah, and I tried to catch lightning more than once. I traded it again on Tuesday, did pretty well with it. Traded them again on Wednesday, chopped around, and that's why today I was like, I need to focus back on small caps. But this was the biggest trade for me I've had since Veru. And this singular trade here, this is why I'm not mad about the max loss. Is this has made my whole month. I would have to hit like 10 more max losses in a row to negate what I've done right here. But that's also why I keep my max losses pretty conservative, because I am not going to let a max loss wipe out weeks or days or months of whatever of work. I just don't have it in me. And I've told you before, I can't stomach big drawdowns. But
I can't either, man. I really
no,
can't.
But anyway, this was major. I remember I traded Pack W, and I left. I quit trading the rest of the day. But this is, again, why we trade, why we practice risk management, so you can catch opportunities like this. This was just a mass panic based on a black swan event that we may never, after it's all settled and the dust is settled, we may never see anything like this again. Or it could be, another, how long ago was 2008? 15 years. It could be another 15 years before we see anything like this again. So just came prepared, risked accordingly, and holy shit, this win was bigger than I even anticipated because I couldn't get out, which scared the shit out of me. But this made the month.
Yeah, you killed it. And I really should have traded that.
Well, and like I told you, the whole time I'm texting you, like, I wouldn't chase it. Damn sure wouldn't long it because I didn't want that. And this was a scary thing because the more size you put into it, you're putting a lot of exposure out there. And in this scenario, I felt like the longer I was in that, the more I was exposing myself to some black swan type of risk. And that's why I was so scared. Dude, I mean, I was sweating in my seat when I
Oh, I
saw that.
remember. Yeah, I remember you telling me you were shaking over it.
Yeah, and I mean when that
You
bid
never
flashed,
say stuff like that. I say stuff like
no,
that all the time.
I'm pretty cool, calm, and even today I'm a max loss. I wasn't here shaking, banging my fist, throwing stuff across the room. I took the max L and whatever. I went to go play games and watch March Madness and whatever.
Man, I've got to get to where I'm calmer, you know.
Well, I wasn't calm on that because I couldn't get out when that massive bid flashed on 20 and I did not get executed. I was very uncomfortable. Very.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, that made my month. It's on track. Month's not over. I'm hoping I can continue to grow it. I'm not gonna just stop trading. But on track to be the biggest month I've had since that last November, largely because of Veru. And this trade right here was actually bigger than Veru. And you know what Veru was because that was a ridiculous move, but this was a ridiculous move. So
I mean, I think we caught like $10 to the downside on both, or you. It was $10 to the downside on both of these, was it not?
I actually think you're right. I think you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Except this one I had a little bit more size. You and I both played Veru a little bit conservatively because of the risk we knew that could be inherited with that FDA approval process. But anyway, that's a whole nother.
I just had no idea it was going to halt like that.
I knew it was going to halt, but I didn't know it was going to halt for like 2 days or whatever. I mean, it halted for a long time.
That was a terrible 2 days for me, man.
Yeah, I thought it was going to halt for like an hour or 2 hours. Thing halted for like 2 days. Yeah, that sucked.
That sucked. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. Like my stomach was turning over those days. Like I was thinking like, okay, I put on my risk for what I would trade like in a day, and I knew it might halt, but I did not think it was gonna halt for days.
Yeah, it's pretty sketch. But anyway.
Hey, well, I'll share this. Since you were talking about FRC.
Oh yeah, you traded it today. You traded it well too.
Yeah, this was a good trade for me, but I was going to talk about.
Yeah, and you traded it well and you nailed it. But now I think these banks are at a point where a singular headline can really move this thing to the upside or downside very quickly. Like this thing could be, in this case, it was trending up nicely all day. Then it had that headline about dividends being suspended or whatever, and then it just tanked. And that's all it's going to take with these regional banks now is one headline is going to move these stocks ridiculous.
Man, and the way that the level 2 and tape looked on this, I'm not good at trading that kind of level 2 and tape. Like, I mean, I know I told you I don't use it like a lot of people do, but just the speed of it I'm not used to that.
Yeah, this is a wild one. That level 2 I traded it on Monday I've never seen a meltdown like that. I mean, bids there were none. I mean, of course there's something on level 2, but nothing with any size, nothing. I've never seen anything like it. Not on something like this.
Yeah, I mean, these are huge banks.
Yeah.
I mean, they're regional banks.
Yeah. Billions of dollars lost over the course of 48 hours on these things. So
I mean, just unreal. Yeah. But so I wanted all this halt up madness. I saw a bunch of people that caught these badass longs on it, and I was like, damn, whatever. At first I was like, I want to short this, and then I'm thinking, wait, no, this is about to go higher, and so I long it, and then I'm like, I sold it. I sold half of it here, and then here I started selling the rest of it, and then it started slamming down right here, and I start getting in short, and then it pops back up, and then I got my size here on the short, and in hindsight, like I had no idea that this was going to happen after hours. I thought this was going to happen during the day, like PACW did like a day or two ago. You remember I shorted that one and I covered it all into like the 1-2 or almost all into like the 1-200, and then it died like $5.
Yeah, these things have been wild, but I do think now it's at a point where Who knows? Either way, I mean, it's wild. I just think headlines are going to weigh heavy on these in either direction, long, short, whatever. One headline could change the whole day in a second.
I mean, and just for reference, I'm going to share this too. This was a good trade for me. I mean, I actually traded this one a little better on like the long side too. But this I thought FRC was going to do what it
What
did
the
in after hours, like this one did right here. So like I caught that long, which I know this is the day you traded it to. I caught that long and sold it all into that. And there was a nice level on the hourly chart. Uh, and I got short into it pretty much like damn near top ticked it. And
Yeah, you did.
then added all my size here. And then I started covering and like I think the 1-200 was right here. I guess I covered it all into it. And that thing dropped. I mean, literally like another $4, whatever it was. I mean, it went down, it broke under 12. And I kept saying to myself, I wanted to long it, it was doing this. I was like, no, I better not. Like, cause after it started doing this, I was thinking, what if it does like,
Yeah, it could do it any point in time what SIVB did and just halt. I haven't looked at that thing. Is that even settled or is it still just halted?
nah, it says 0 as the price. But this was a good trade, but I liked how I did the FRC trade better just because I don't know, like I well, I say I liked how I did it better. I don't necessarily like how I did it better. I shouldn't have even fooled with going long on it there, but I'm glad I, sold it. But I probably should have covered some at that, at the
Yeah, that thing
green to
respected
red.
red to green super hard. Bounced off that thing like 4 times.
Yes, it did. And man, when it was here and like getting close to close, when it started doing this, like kind of consolidating and moving down, I was like, okay, this thing might just fade off into after hours. And I'll hold it into after hours, which I don't necessarily love doing, but I did. And I got super lucky. Um, I don't know why. I hit like this is like 3 or 4 orders, but for some reason it just looks like 2. I guess it grouped them together. I don't know.
Yeah, my docile group, especially yeah.
Sometimes it groups them together, but like, I mean, it was after hours, so I was hitting limit orders. Um, I don't know. It worked out really good.
Yeah, it did.
I didn't. I thought it was gonna do. That's why I didn't cover any here because of that PACW trade. So that
Yeah.
if anybody wondering, that's why I held it like this. But like, I didn't get the fades I really wanted on THMO and LIPO. So I was really more into holding this. So
That worked out. Better to be lucky than good, as we say.
that's right. That's right, man. But yeah, pretty good trading for me this week, and really good trading for you.
I've been on a tear, so the max out doesn't bother me. How I traded it bothers me. However, that's why we have to discipline. Like once you have a system and a core in place, discipline's hugely important because obviously I lost that today and that created the loss essentially. If I would have stuck to what we talked about in pre-market, I may have made money on THMO or, tiny loss or break even, or probably would have made money if I'd have waited till that 650 level, which was the previous day's action levels and where the volume profile was, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, it is what it is. I am aiming though this week to really go back into small caps and just stay in my lane because now the bank things, I think the dust hasn't settled, but I do think now it could be tough to play levels only because a singular headline could really move those stocks in crazy directions and burn longs or burn shorts off of one headline. And if FRC has a buyer or fails to get funding and it rips or it fades, the whole lot of them is going to do the same thing.
Yep.
So I think they're going to be tough to trade going forward. So I'm just, like I said today in pre-market prep, I'm just going to look to get back into what I do, the shitcos, as we call them.
That's right, man.
But anyway, good damn week. I had a great run. I took a max loss, got a little cocky, caught the FOMO bug, and all good things have to come to an end. But I ain't mad about it. Mad about the way I traded. Not mad about the max L. Been a hell of a month. We'll see what the rest of the month holds. But shit, bro, we are well over an hour. I am going to get a refill on my beverage. Watch more March Madness. I might trade. I know I said I wasn't going to trade tomorrow. I might trade in the morning because I'm a degenerate, even though I said I wasn't going to. I'm probably going to trade in the morning because I'm, kids got to go to school. March Madness doesn't start till noon. Or noonish. So I'll probably trade some in the morning and then stop, go do the March Madness thing. My son's birthday is tomorrow. Do all that.
Happy birthday. Happy early birthday to him.
Yeah, man, he's going to be 8. St. Patrick's Day birthday. Wild. He better have the best 21st birthday of all time.
Man, I swear. I was just thinking that.
I'm like, dude, I'm going to be disappointed if you don't just tear it up on your 21st birthday.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, that's trade recap. Hopefully we helped some people, clarified some stuff. Bank stock madness ain't over. There's still going to be tons of opportunity with those stocks, but I still do think the headlines could burn you one way or the other. It's just more inherent risk, I think, with those plays. Not to say that if something sets up, we don't trade it, but I would size appropriately and accordingly. But
yeah,
tomorrow, if I do pre-market prep, small caps, and I'm going to follow my freaking plan. Anyway.
Hey, it's easier said than done, man. You know how it is.
It is. This is just first time I've lost control in a while. So it's part of it. Anyway, I think we're good, right? We covered a lot of shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. We'll do more of this. The live is cool because it's, to be completely honest with everyone, it is easier on us to go live because then there's zero editing, zero anything. We just push live, shit goes out, and we don't have to do anything. So, little secret tip there. But anyway, all right.
You have pretty busy lives as it is.
Yeah, I can hear my kids in the other room. So I'm going to refill my drink, put kids to bed, watch March Madness, do this again tomorrow, more March Madness, and I'll holler at you in the morning. I may or may not do pre-market prep. I want to watch these games. I may sleep in a little bit. We'll see how it goes. It might be a spur of the moment thing. But if I do pre-market prep, or even if I just do my own private pre-market prep, I'm going to stick to my freaking guns this time and follow my freaking rules.
That's right.
All right, big dog. Well, I'll holler at you in the morning. Thank y'all for watching. Like, share, comment, all that good stuff. I'm not going to go on and on. I'm going to do the outro thing. Peace.
Peace.